It was one of these thought experiments he devised on that tramcar that revolutionized modern physics forever. While receding away from the Zeitglocke clock tower, Einstein imagined what would happen if the tramcar were receding at the speed of light.
Okay, first of all, he's imagining what would happen if the train or tram car sped away at the speed of light. Now, it is an immovable fact that nothing, physical matter, can travel at the speed of light save light itself. So this thought experiment, which they just admit, is illogical because nothing can travel at the speed of light except light.
He realized that if he were to travel at 186,000 miles per second, the clock's hands would appear to completely freeze.
Okay, now again, 186,000 miles a second, the speed of light. No physical object, physical matter can do that. It is limited to light. And it doesn't matter what the clock hands are doing because they move at pre-programmed increments devised by man. Time has nothing to do with that second hand moving. Time has nothing to do with the minute or hour hand moving. Whatever Einstein thinks he sees is his own personal visual perception, and it does not change anything that's going on at this clock. There is no time itself because, whether seen or unseen, there is no physicality of time itself. Time hasn't one iota of presence or substance to directly detect, identify, isolate, study, or harness.
At the same time, Einstein knew that back at the
That hand moving has nothing to do with what we call time. It moves due to electricity, a battery, or spring coils that we wind to provide tension that's released in a controlled manner to move those hands. Per what we say, 60 seconds a minute is a minute, 60 minutes is an hour, 60 seconds is 1 minute, 60 minutes is an hour. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything but what we say. Whatever Einstein sees on the train is his own visual perception. It does not change what's actually going on at this clock. And it's all illogical because nothing, physical matter, can move at the speed of light. It's all illogical.
The hands would tick along at their normal pace. For Einstein, time had slowed down. This thought blew his mind.
For Einstein, per visual perception, it would appear to slow down if physical matter could move at the speed of light. But it would not mean it was slowing down. It would only be so for him in visual perception. Physical matter cannot move at the speed of light. Only light can move at its own universal, fixed, absolute speed. Those hands, whatever they're doing, has nothing to do with time. They move per pre-programmed increments, programmed by man. Time does not slow or speed them up. I don't understand why people don't realize this. This video itself even admits the truth.
Einstein realized that the two notions could coexist with a small tweak in Newton's laws. To get rid of the discrepancy in the measurements, Einstein suggested that time itself, for the man on the train, must slow down to compensate for the increase in speed.
Now, the man on a train, which the train cannot move at the speed of light, it's physical matter. It is his visual perception. It is not really occurring.
Such that the magnitude remains a constant. Einstein called this absurdity time dilation.
Absurdity. It is an absurdity, and they admit it. That's why it's a theory. That's why they've recently come out with satellites have programmed to deal with time dilation. It is nonsense. If you're on a train that's moving at the speed of light, you're not on Earth, you're not in the physical realm anymore. Nothing in the physical realm of physical matter in a three-dimensional reality can move at the speed of light, save light alone. And if he was in some other dimension where that could occur, whatever he's seen would be his own visual perception. It would not change whatever's going on. Okay, so him on his train moving away from that clock at the speed of light, that is all his perception. It does not change what's actually going on at that clock with the hands, the second hand, the minute hand, or the hour hand. It is all his own perception. And it's all illogical because nothing of physical matter in a three-dimensional reality of physical matter can move at the speed of light. This cannot be demonstrated. Only light can. These are lies that these people put forth. When you see the clock there, the hands, when they move, it is not time causing that. And if a second hand slowed down or sped up, it would not be time doing that. That would be the mechanism, something causing that to happen. If you take a freaking clock to the top of the highest mountain in the world, and the second hand slowed down or sped up, it would be the mechanism, not time. Time doesn't have presence and substance of itself. There would be other variables, the altitude, temperature. It would be the mechanism. Why do people think clocks represent more than what they're supposed to represent, which is to synchronize from one moment to the next, or watch something at a certain time with everyone else on the earth? That second hand moves per electricity or a battery at a rate designated by man. 60 seconds is a minute. 60 minutes is an hour. So a satellite, the clock speeds up. So you're telling me that there's something in outer space that singles out a second hand to speed it up? That would be speeding everything up, not just a second hand. It wouldn't be limited to clocks, an analog clock or a digital clock with digital numerical numbers on a screen, or clock, minute, second hands. This whatever you're talking about, time singles out second hands to speed them up or slow them down. That would happen to everything, and it would take physicality, whether seen or unseen, the presence and substance of something to do it. This is all illogical. Okay, these people are trying to turn concepts into reality, and they are not. Luck is a concept. There is no physical presence and substance of any female called Lady Luck. Coincidence is a concept to explain away the obvious. Gravity is there to dumb you down to think you can stand upside down on a giant spinning ball. Google, what don't we know about gravity? And the number one answer is, however, if we are to be honest, we don't know what gravity is itself in any fundamental way. And that's because there is no gravity itself to directly detect, identify, isolate, study, or harness. These people are liars. They've admitted it themselves. It is an absurdity. When you see the second hand on a clock moving, it is not time causing that. Time does not cause it to run normally. Time does not cause it to speed up or slow down. The electricity, the battery, or physically manually winding it is what makes that thing move. And there is nothing out there singling out second hands, whether they're analog or digital, to slow them down or speed them up. Do you not know what physicality is? Presence and substance is what makes things real. This is mind-boggling how dumb this is. Objects cannot move at the speed of light. In a three-dimensional reality of physical matter, nothing is infinite or eternal. Everything breaks down, falls apart, dies, corrodes, erodes, and rusts. Okay? Nothing can move at the speed of light except light. So to make up these little thought experiments of being on a train, moving away from a clock at the speed of light, and try to put physicality on your visual perception of what you would see is illogical. That is illogical. That does not mean that whatever is happening at the clock everyone else is seeing. They're not moving at the speed of light. What you see is your visual perception. It is not really occurring. It's on so many levels, because physical matter cannot move at the speed of light, and it never will be able to. They're liars. And just because they say satellites have programming to deal with time dilation, they're lying to you. There is no such thing as time itself. Yesterday is just a word we use to remember things we have done or accomplished. And when we say tomorrow, tomorrow is just another word we use to plan for things we want to do or accomplish. We live in the constant present. The constant present does not acknowledge or entertain if you or anyone else is sleeping or waking up. It does not entertain when the sun appears or when it departs, because it can't. It is another conceptual way to describe our reality. Now, because things break down, rust, erode, corrode, and die, we make up little words. Okay? Nothing is forever in a three-dimensional reality of physical matter. Again, nothing can be infinite or eternal. So we make up things like time. But we live always in the constant present. And that's all there is to it. If time were something or real or could influence anything in a three-dimensional reality of physical matter, it itself would have presence and substance that we could directly detect, identify, isolate, and harness. If gravity were a force, power, or thing that pulled things down towards the center of the earth, it itself would require presence and substance to do so, to interact, engage, or engulf a rock, to pull it down, to stop it from floating away. When you see the hands moving on a clock, it is not time doing anything. It is if time had anything to do with it, you wouldn't have to plug the clock in. Don't you understand that? If it can slow the second hand down, why isn't it running it in the first place? Time has a mind. Time made up 60 seconds make a minute, and 60 minutes make an hour. No, we did. We made that up. The word yesterday was made up by man. Tomorrow by man. They're just means to remember things we did and to plan for things we want to do. It is always the constant present. It is like one very, very, very long day that we're living. And people try to say, no, it's many days, because I've seen this big bright object come and then leave, and then come and then leave. and it came and left 20,000 times. No, we live in a constant present. It's a very long day. Things happen in the sky. We go to sleep. We wake up. And that's all there is to it. There is no such thing as time. Unless you are in the fourth dimension, which is the spirit realm. Then we have eternity, where things don't rust, corrode, erode, fall apart, and die. Why would you make up theories based on stuff that does not happen and will never happen? No physical three-dimensional object can move at the speed of light. Light is the only thing that can move as fast as it apparently does. But that doesn't mean other things can. And what is light? You can't weigh light. You cannot burn light. You can't burn light away. No, you can shine light into the hottest furnace and it won't do anything to that light. And gale force wind will not blow light off its trajectory. And again, you can't weigh it. There's no other substance that can do that. Now, time dilation is exactly what they admitted. It is an absurdity.
Einstein called this absurdity time dilation,
Okay, so
and his newfound theory, special relativity.
all absurdities. Okay, because you cannot demonstrate any three-dimensional physical object of matter moving at the speed of light. And if you could, anyone aboard it, whatever they see is their own visual phenomena. It does not change what's going around just because they zip by real fast. And when the second, hour, or minute hand moves on a clock, it is not time. It is electricity powering those hands, or a battery, or manual wind to move in pre-programmed increments. So that there is illogical. Nothing can move at the speed of light. And it's just numerical nonsense. One-dimensional symbols that represent knowledge, or nonsense. Forgive me, I feel like ramming my head in the wall for even uttering that word knowledge near this symbolic garbage. People need to wake up. This guy was a plagiarist and a liar. Time dilation is not real. None of it is. He was a liar and an actor. Now for the last time, when you Google what don't we know about gravity, the number one answer of 143 million results is, however, if we are to be honest, we don't know what gravity is itself in any fundamental way. Therefore, it is illogical to say we only know how it behaves, because picking up a rock and dropping it and then timing how fast it takes to hit the ground or how fast it's going is only that. Okay, it is not gravity itself. It is the alleged effects and results. And it is illogical to put anything to that other than what it actually is, a rock falling, when you admit, however, if we are to be honest, we don't know what gravity is itself in any fundamental way. Now, when I ask globe pundits why they say that, they get upset, pissed off, because they know if they entertain logic for even 10 seconds, the answer is because they cannot directly detect gravity itself. They cannot identify gravity itself. They cannot isolate gravity itself or harness it, because there's nothing there to detect, identify, isolate, or harness. Gravity itself hasn't one iota of presence or substance. And that's why they don't know what gravity is itself in any fundamental way. They just pick up rocks and watch them fall and then say it's gravity. And it's not gravity, it's relative density. The rock is fallen because it's heavier than its surrounding air. So it falls through it until it finds something that can support it, the ground, from whence it derives and originates. Why don't it fall up? Why would it fall 100 miles up when it can fall 3-4 feet to the ground where it came from, where it originates? You people are being deceived by lies masqueraded as theories. There's no such thing as time dilation. Because time can't do that. Time is a concept that we made up. Okay, we live in reality in what would appear to be just one long day that has the sun and the moon appear a lot. Appear, leave, appear, leave, appear, leave. And people call that a day. Okay, I got no problem with that. Why not? The Indians say I'm 50 summers old or 50 winters old. No problem. We are intelligent and we like to be able to synchronize with each other from one moment to the next. But to make up words like time and say that they are in of themselves real is illogical, because they are not real. There is no body of time that can speed up at altitude and run normally at sea level. Again, you could not run and walk at the same time. So time at altitude slows or speeds up, they say. It speeds up, so satellites have to be programmed to deal with it. So something in outer space singles out the second increment mover, digital or analog, but doesn't affect anything else to speed it up. That's illogical. And all they did was invent a place where they can have things that can't be demonstrated on Earth to be real. Okay? That's why outer space exists. It's a fairyland they made up to be able to teach things as real that cannot be demonstrated on the Earth. So let's make up a place where we can say they can be demonstrated. Scumbags, traitors to humanity. And you who believe this stuff are the true definition of artificial intelligence. Now go ahead and slap yourself.